Hi, Adam. I see you were able to make it today.
Yes, how are you today?
Pretty good. So you got your webcam and were able to get it all set up on your computer without any problems?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good deal. Is the clarity and everything of the sound and the picture, is it okay on your end?
It's perfect.
Okay, good. The first thing I want to let you know about the webcam and using the webcam is that sometimes the screen will just all of a sudden go dark, or just the screensaver basically comes on. All you have to do is take the mouse and just shake it a little bit, or make sure that the keyboard has a little bit of activity from time to time so that it doesn't completely cut out on you. But even so, when the screen goes dark, I can still hear you through the video, okay?
Okay.
Okay. The other feature that I want to tell you about right away is that right now I'm having you follow my lead on the screen. And I have it set up so that we're both like of equal sizes, so you can see, like, I'm on one side, you're on the other, but we can switch that around. Sometimes when we're working on some of the forms and things that you need to be doing with me, I'll be able to put those up on the screen as well, and we'll minimize your pictures. So sometimes you might see me playing around with the pictures and stuff, and so don't freak out or anything. That's just me controlling the screen, okay?
Okay.
The other thing I want to point out is that we have the ability to do a chat feature here, and I can enable this chat box, and it'll ask us if we want to. I'm trying to put the chat up right now. So that if for some reason something happens to our sound, we'll still be able to use the chat box back and forth until the sound comes back. That happens every now and then, not very often, but for whatever reason, we are using technology, so occasionally something will come up and we'll need to use the chat feature.
Okay.
I've also had people, sometimes when I'm asking them questions, if they're kind of fearful that somebody in their house who's in the other room might overhear something they say, that they prefer giving me some of their answers over the chat box as well. And that's okay too. Okay.
Perfect.
Did you have any questions? I know when we talked on the phone, you weren't kind of sure about all of this. So you had a couple of questions about court and things.
Sure. Is what we talk about private, and can anyone hack in or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because really that's typically a question that a lot of people have. This technology that we're using is extremely secure. It's encrypted, which means that people cannot hack into it. We've purchased this through our program. You don't have to pay for the security because we've already paid for this. It's like a conference room that we have kind of bought, that's your private conference room that only you have the code for to get in this conference room, and or the link that I sent you that got you into the room today.
Yeah.
And so that'll be your link, and you'll keep that link. And if for some reason you ever feel like that's been compromised, we can change your link. But it is encrypted, and we do make sure that we're working with companies and corporations that keep up with the top of technology. I'm not a technology person, so I can't even really go into all of the terminology for you, but our tech folks have checked this out thoroughly to make sure that it's very secure, as well as our people in the agency who are in charge of looking after the HIPAA compliance, the HIPAA forms and things that you have to sign when you come into an agency. They've all made sure that what we're using here is compliant with the HIPAA rules as well.
Okay. I've used a system called Skype. Is this a lot like Skype?
It looks a lot like Skype, but it's actually more secure, because I don't believe that Skype is encrypted and secure this way, and people can probably hack into Skype or Uvu or some of those other kind of web-based programs, FaceTime and things like that. But this is, like I said, we're actually purchasing this conference room from an organization, and they are providing us with the encrypted conference room.
Okay. So would I be able to use this instead of Skype with my family and friends?
No, actually I'm glad you asked that, because that's a really good question. We need you to keep this kind of as your private counseling room, just like as if you were coming in here to my office for a counseling session. We need this to be your secure private room for your counseling. And so it's not for your private personal use. No, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. And lastly, I think, what if I have a tech issue? I'm no expert with the computer, so, what if I do have a tech issue? Can I call you, or do I call a number, or who do I contact in that? regard.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of tech support, and because I use this and because our other counselors do use the technology a lot, there's a lot of really standard kind of problem solving techniques that we're familiar with. So typically we would sort of be your front line on the tech support. And if we can't resolve it, then what we would do is go to our person who advises us on our tech issues. And then if he is unable to, then we have the tech support of the company that provides us with the service as well. So there's several levels of tech support here.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And does this count as counseling? Is it real? Will my PO accept this?
Yeah.
You know, things like that.
Yeah, I know. You know, a lot of people have that concern because when you say internet-based, then people think that somehow you're getting away with something and you're not actually having to go to counseling. But I assure you that your counseling is counseling. I mean, you and I are going to be seeing each other face to face. We're going to be working on the exact same issues that you would be working on if you came in here into my office in person. We just happen to be using this format of the internet. The court is familiar with what we're doing, and they are okay with this. And also your probation officer can get updates. I know you've signed the release of information that I sent you for the court and for your probation officer. And we have you actually write your initials and then sign that paper on very specific information that you want us to release. The things that I typically will release right off the bat, if a probation officer is asking, is your attendance, how often you and I are meeting for counseling, and kind of a summary of progress in counseling. What I don't do is I don't get into real specific details about what you and I talk about in counseling. I feel like that, you know, you need to have that privacy in order for you to feel comfortable talking about things in a counseling session. However, you know, those records, like I talked to you about before, if the court wants to request our file, they can request our file. So you have to keep that in mind as well. But typically what I'll be sharing with your probation officer is your attendance and the fact that you are showing for your appointments and that it seems like you're making progress through the material that we're covering. And then if there are any questions, then we can address those as they come up. When you're finished with your program here, you will be getting a certificate as well. And we can either send you an extra copy of that certificate to show your probation officer, and or we can send your probation officer a copy of your certificate.
Okay. So This will never be recorded, right? It's all live time. It'll never be recorded and shown to the PO or anybody like that.
Right. Actually, it would be against the law for me to record a session with you. First of all, without your permission, we would have to have a really good reason why we would be recording something. And I mean, don't get me wrong, in counseling, sometimes when training's going on, there is permission that you get from consumers to record sessions for their schooling and things like that. But there are all kinds of releases of information and things like that that have to take place before that can happen. And it is against the law for us to record anything as far as our counseling sessions without you having a consent in that process. There would be no reason for us to record any of our counseling sessions, no.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I have at this time.
Okay, good. If you think of anything else, feel free to call me. I know I included my card in that package of information that I sent you. And just use my extension. It goes directly into my office, and you can ask any questions, and I'll get back with you either through email, since you consented on the forms to allow me to use email with you, and or also I noticed that you have a text phone, and so I'm happy to also text those kind of basic questions with you as well. So feel free to ask any questions as they come up, because we want to make sure that you're comfortable with this and that it's going to meet your needs and get what you need as far as your counseling and get you to the place where you need to be so that you're not in trouble with the court anymore and so that you're kind of moving on with your life.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Adam. See you later.
Bye.
Take care.